For wild animals, life is all about survival. And in this battle for their own place in the natural world, each has adapted in amazing ways, evolving unique abilities and anatomical mutations, allowing them to thrive in even the toughest environments. But for some species, life is all about endurance. Facing grueling journeys just to stay alive, battling through the planet's most treacherous waters and the harshest terrain, navigating their way past the deadliest predators and withstanding the most extreme climates on Earth. On these incredible journeys, these animals must do whatever it takes to survive. A scorching desert in Jordan. The scene of a short but immensely grueling journey. This darkling beetle is making its way across the burning desert rocks, looking for food. But it's a harsh and barren land, and little grows out here. Tired of living off dead leaves and scraps, this beetle has a yearning for some juicy greenery. But it's easier said than done. She has to travel many kilometers to the coast, where the sea air means vegetation can grow. But there's a problem. To reduce dehydration, nature has fused her wings together, making it impossible to fly. She's going to have to walk. She prepares herself for a long and difficult trip. She will have to brave the extreme heat of the desert, cope with a severe shortage of water, and live with strong winds. This beetle is highly accustomed to the brutality of the desert, but even for her, this unforgiving climate is going to test her to the limit. Temperatures regularly exceed 40 degrees in the desert. Most animals that live here are nocturnal, as few would survive the extreme heat of the day. But not our beetle. She has specially adapted legs that allow her to tiptoe through the desert, to keep her body high up and away from the burning sand below her. It's not just the heat that makes her trek difficult. It's the lack of food and water. It sometimes goes for months here without any rain. She's running out of time in her quest to reach her coastal oasis. To make matters worse, a desert wind whips up, hurling sand into her face, making her journey impossible to continue with for the time being. Luckily, some dry twigs give her some shelter. Most animals couldn't survive this long without water, but the darkling beetle has evolved a clever technique to overcome this. They have the incredible ability to create water internally. Their body can actually fabricate it from other molecules, even from dry leaves or rotting wood. Handy when you live in a desert. Having travelled over endless dunes and rocky deserts, our darkling beetle's 6-week-long trek is finally over. The sea air has produced a small array of flowers, and she dives in quickly, quenching her thirst and filling her stomach with seeds. She uses her short, feeler-like pulps to handle her food, while her mouth parts shear through the vegetation. Travelling across an environment as severe as the Jordan Desert can test an animal's survival skills to the limit. But swimming through water can be just as challenging. The Great Salmon Run begins in the Pacific Ocean and ends 1,000 kilometers later in the rivers of Vancouver Island. It's an epic journey with 500 million salmon traveling back to the rivers where they spawned so they can breed themselves. There are many dangers that lie ahead, but these fish are on a mission to get home no matter what it takes. No one's sure how these salmon actually know how to find the same rivers. One theory is they use the Earth's magnetic fields, while another is that salmon have a keen sense of smell and the scent of their home rivers is imprinted into their DNA. They can sniff out a single drop from their nursery stream in 1 million litres of seawater. Using this homing skill, millions of salmon begin their great adventure by making their way through the Pacific, arriving at the edge of the Canadian coast in late summer. But as they near the Vancouver Island's rocky coastline, a hungry hunter awaits. This Steller sea lion is the largest of his kind on the planet. He's over 3 meters in length and weighs more than a ton. The sea lions have waited all year for these salmon to arrive on these shores. And now, they seize the opportunity. Sea lions may seem slow and lumbering on land, but underwater, they become streamlined and sleek. They have impressive maneuverability, twisting and turning to trap their prey. The salmon try to escape, but the sea lions can turn on a sixpence, and the fish are helpless to get away. The sea lions capture thousands of salmon, but not even these formidable predators can make a dent in the huge shoals that arrive here at this time of year. Despite already having traveled hundreds of kilometers, for this shoal, desperate to lay their eggs further upstream, even bigger obstacles still lie ahead. Not all voyages in the animal kingdom are on such an epic scale. For some, even the shortest journey can be a challenge. Once a week, this sloth makes the short trip down a tree in its rainforest home to do its business on the forest floor. But it's a long way down, and sloths are the world's slowest mammal. They travel less than 40 meters a day. Sloths are slow because they have an extremely low metabolism, meaning they have to conserve what energy they have through their movement. They expend so little energy, they need to eat a very small amount. This sloth will chew its way through less than 200 grams of leaves each day. Each meal may take 30 days to digest. This sloth is beginning her weekly journey to the bottom of the tree. It could take the rest of the day to get there. But she is not the only animal on an expedition. Buried deep within the sloth's fur are a colony of moths. These moths spend their entire adult lives inhabiting the shaggy fur of the sloth. Known as sloth moths, 100 or more of these insects can be found burrowing in the fur of a single host. However, to breed, they have to lay their eggs in sloth dung when the sloth chooses to go down to the forest floor and do its business. In fact, by the time it reaches the ground, it's the middle of the night. The moths seize their opportunity and lay their eggs. As caterpillars, they will feed exclusively on sloth dung. By hitching a ride on their host, female moths make sure they're always in the right place to lay their eggs next to their food supply. Soon the caterpillars will pupate and fly up to the canopy to reside in a sloth moth home of their own. A world away from the warm, lush habitat of the rainforest. Another, far more heroic journey is about to take place. The wild cliffs on the coast of Patagonia. Over 400,000 rockhopper penguins choose to nest here. Every day, they endure an extremely dramatic mission. The rockhopper nests are situated high up on the cliff tops to keep their chicks away from predators. But the chicks are hungry, and now the female penguins are on their way back from a fishing expedition to bring food for their young. Waves out here can reach up to 12 meters high. But these are the toughest penguins in the world. The female penguins return to land by surfing the crashing waves in platoons. Their torpedo-shaped bodies are perfectly designed to help dive under the surf and power them towards the shore. As they reach the coastline, the massive waves pummel them and smash them into rocks. Remarkably, the penguins arrive ashore unharmed. They then flood onto the beach, making their way back towards their hungry chicks. But the journey is about to become even more difficult. They have to negotiate their way past a group of particularly large and grumpy residents. A colony of fur seals. These seals reach up to 2 meters in length and weigh 50 times heavier than the penguins. They could crush or bite them in half in an instant. One penguin ventures away from the others and finds himself alone and isolated. A risky ploy when surrounded by hundreds of angry seals. He hops and skips his way past them, trying to find the rest of the penguins. But where is everyone? Finally, he finds a friend, and the penguins begin their journey through the baying seals. Elsewhere in the world, penguins are seal prey, but here, for some reason, they appear to tolerate the penguins. Just about. The seals snap and snarl as the rockhoppers snake their way through the colony. One penguin has the temerity to climb on top of a seal and almost gets bitten in the process. But luckily, they make it through unscathed. Their adventure isn't over yet, though. The intrepid parents need to climb hundreds of meters to reach the safety of their nests. Rockhoppers are superb climbers, and their webbed feet and sharp claws make gripping the cliff face easy. They scrabble and leap their way to the top. Penguins have been breeding and hopping up the cliff for decades. So long that steps have been worn into the rock. Finally, the rockhoppers reach the top. Now there's just a short walk across the cliff before they finally reach the safety of the colony. Battling through the thousands of other penguins, they find their own chick and regurgitate the fish they recently hunted. There are many triggers that cause animals to undertake such extraordinary journeys. But some of the most epic are driven by the changing of the seasons. The end of summer in North America triggers one of the most captivating migrations of all, the flight of the monarch butterflies. These beautiful creatures make their summer home in forests close to the Rocky Mountains. But as autumn approaches, they prepare to fly south to the sunny forests of California and Mexico. It's a vast 4,800-kilometer journey, one of the longest known insect migrations on Earth. The migration of the monarch butterflies is a stunning natural event, with millions of these enchanting, brightly colored creatures fluttering their way south. No one is sure how these butterflies can navigate their way over such a vast distance home. But scientists believe the monarch's eyes and antennae are able to track the position of the sun and act like an internal GPS. Thanks to a combination of air currents and tailwinds to aid their month-long journey, these butterflies are now settling into their overwintering sites here in Mexico. Clustering in their thousands, they enter a form of hibernation on the Oyamal fir tree. descendants of the monarch butterflies settle on the same trees every year and can cover it entirely with their orange and black color. They rest here during winter for several months, then begin the grueling journey back north towards Canada. But without the benefit of a tailwind, butterflies do not live long enough to make it that far in one lifetime. Instead, they stop in Texas to lay their eggs. The egg itself then goes through a small but fascinating journey known as metamorphosis. After 4 days, it hatches into a baby caterpillar called the larvae. Then, after 2 weeks of feeding off the leaf, the caterpillar is fully grown and the metamorphosis process begins. It attaches itself to the leaf and transforms into a chrysalis. For the next 10 days, the caterpillar is going through a process of rapid change. The body parts of the caterpillar slowly transform and become a beautiful monarch butterfly. The insect emerges from the pupa and flutters off to begin its incredible flight back to the Rockies. It will take 3 generations of these butterflies to traverse the 4,800 kilometers back to North America, where right now the Vancouver Island salmon run is in full flow. Stuffed with eggs, these salmon are desperate to deposit them further upstream. But there's a huge obstacle in the way. A 900-meter fall with rushing waters and jutting rocks. Even going down the fall would be difficult for most fish, but going upriver seems an impossible feat. The salmon, though, are nothing if not determined. Racing towards the fall, they fling themselves into the air, and one of the most awe-inspiring events in the animal kingdom commences. They rarely make it first time, but giving up isn't an option. These salmon will die trying. Again and again, they fling themselves at the crashing, surging water in a desperate bid to reach the top. The froth of the water causes a hydraulic uplift, and the salmon use this to make massive leaps into the air. Traversing the entire falls takes immense strength, and only the toughest can make it. The salmon who reach the top may think their quest to reach their spawning grounds is almost over. But someone has been waiting at the top of the fall, their most serious obstacle yet. This is the home of the black bear, a salmon fisher extraordinaire. She is the island's largest predator, and she's ready for her supper. Although largely vegetarian, the arrival of spawning salmon triggers an autumn feeding frenzy as bears fatten up for winter right across North America. Choosing her moment, the bear plunges into the water. A good hunter like this will eat up to 15 salmon a day. She needs to stock up for her fast-approaching hibernation, so she focuses on the brain, eggs, skin, and back muscles, which contain high levels of fat. Black bears can kill over half the salmon in these smaller streams. Battered and exhausted, those fish that survive must now summon the energy for the last and most important phase of this seemingly endless journey that surely ranks as one of the most dramatic on the planet. But there's a journey made by an animal in Africa that might just top it. The wildebeest migration. It's the largest movement of land animals on Earth and is one of nature's greatest dramas. Spanning a year, over 1 million wildebeest follow the seasonal rains in their trek from the southern edge of the plains to the north and back again. It's a treacherous 3,000-kilometer odyssey, with over 250,000 animals dying from exhaustion or being taken by predators that lie in wait along the route. This is nature at its most raw and wild. A few months into this great migration, the herds stop briefly to give birth to their young. Almost 500,000 calves are born within 2 or 3 weeks of each other. The herds try not to stay here for long. It's a chance for seasoned hunters to pick off some easy prey. Lion prides are dotted all over the Serengeti, and these hunters are waiting for their annual feast. A newborn calf is no match for such an expert hunter. Lions have superb senses, including excellent vision, able to pinpoint their prey from a distance, and very useful night vision to boot. They also have amazing hearing, allowing them to sense prey from up to 1.5 kilometers away. Luckily for this newborn wildebeest calf, the lionesses have already made a kill today. This environment is so dangerous that as soon as they enter the world, the wildebeest calves are in a survival mode. After only a few minutes of being born, these calves can stand on their feet and start to walk. They must be able to move with their mothers to have any chance of staying alive. The calves start to practice running. At 2 days old, they can already keep up with the herd. With the calving season over, the herd continues its long march north across the plains. Soon they will have to face their biggest challenge yet: the Mara River. This is where one of nature's iconic events takes place: the Mara River crossing. 1 million wildebeest will attempt to make this famous crossing, but it's no easy task. Even though these animals are strong swimmers, the treacherous current sweeps away thousands of animals each year. It's not just the tricky waters the animals have to contend with. A deadly foe lurks beneath these murky depths, and he bides his time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Nile crocodile. These huge primordial beasts can reach up to 6 meters in size and are capable of taking almost any animal within its range. They have an extremely powerful bite with sharp conical teeth that it's almost impossible to loosen. The wildebeest start to cross the river, hoping they can avoid an encounter with this fearsome predator. But this crocodile is the king of the ambush, with lightning-quick reflexes. He waits for a wildebeest to get close. Then the crocodile drags its prey down into the depths and their certain doom. Despite the danger, the wildebeest keep plunging into the water, hoping for the best. Some get taken during the crossing, while others head to the banks, where other crocodiles are waiting. It's a mad scramble to reach the other side. The wildebeest migration is one of the most arduous of all animal journeys. And the determination and endurance of these animals is a truly impressive thing. But the real endurance athletes of the animal world are birds. Some can travel for thousands of kilometers without rest. One of the most impressive athletes of all is the black-browed albatross. With a wingspan of up to 2.5 meters, this stunningly elegant bird can glide serenely above the sea for days. After crossing the oceans of the southern hemisphere, these birds start to appear off the Falkland Islands in their thousands. Almost 75% of the world's population nest here, making it one of the most significant breeding grounds in the world. These birds mate for life, so they find their long-lost partners and settle down for a period of cohabitation once again. Their courtship rituals are surprisingly tender, spending long periods preening each other's necks and stroking beaks. Together, they build a strange turret-like nest and lay a single egg. And once this egg hatches, both parents help raise the chick, taking turns to hunt. They feed the chick a thick, concentrated oil they extract from their prey and regurgitate into their offspring's mouths. The chicks remain on their nest for around 4 months, and then prepare to head out into the wild ocean like their parents. The albatross's huge journey across the ocean is motivated by one thing, and one thing only: the desire to breed. But some journeys are undertaken for even more fundamental reasons: the desire to stay alive. The southern edge of the Sahara, and water is scarce here. Very scarce. This herd of Mali elephants are on a grueling trek in search of the one resource they so desperately need. They haven't had a drink for days. Over the past 11 months, the herd has traveled around 600 kilometers, the longest migration made by any elephant in Africa. It's an exhausting journey, migrating from one waterhole to another. It's midway through the dry season, with daily temperatures soaring over 40 degrees, and it hasn't rained in many months. These elephants have adapted to desert life with broader feet and smaller bodies than other African elephants. This helps them to cross kilometers of sand dunes to reach water. But still, for Mali's elephants, every day is a battle to survive. An elderly female, the matriarch, is leading the herd. She must find water within the next few days, or she and members of her family may die. The matriarch's experience is crucial, as she is the only one who knows where the watering hole is, and the rest of the herd must trust her. The herd have already walked 50 kilometers in the last 24 hours, and the calves are finding it hard to keep up. There's still a long way from the lake, but there's no turning back. To do so would be certain death. They must find water soon. On the way there, they often travel through local farmers' lands looking for food, and this can cause problems. Farmers graze their cattle here and are wary of elephants eating the scarce plant life that grows here. It can cause conflict, with some elephants being killed. But these elephants are on a mission to find water and pass through the farm without stopping. They carry on their relentless trudge, and the burning heat is showing no signs of abating. After another week's walking, finally these Mali elephants reach the watering hole of Banzina. The lives of the baby elephant and the rest of the herd are saved. The elephants swallow up to 200 litres and store even more in a reserve pouch in their throats. In an area over the size of Wales, the matriarch has managed to find the one source of water her family so desperately need. The herd won't move on until the rains return, replenishing other lakes in the region. Then they will begin their march once again. It's October, and our Pacific salmon have finally made it back to the spawning grounds of their youth. It's been an epic adventure to get here. After starting their journey in the open ocean, they've managed to evade the hungry jaws of the Steller sea lion, flung themselves up a vast waterfall, then escaped the lethal talons of the black bear to reach the river where they were born. But the journey has had a devastating effect on the fish. The males are battle-worn and emaciated. Their jaws are torn and their backs have developed unnatural-looking humps. The females haven't fared much better. They too are near death, and their skin has lost its healthy glow. They may have made it back to their spawning grounds, but now they have to breed, and it's another battle. Females harry about, looking for the best place to put their eggs. They then dig 1 or 2 egg pockets in the riverbed and prepare to lay them. The males jostle about, looking to seize their moment and swoop in to fertilize the eggs. The female salmon can lay around 3,000 eggs, with nests dotted about the river. The salmon have finally achieved what they set out to do all those weeks ago and produce the next generation. But now their journey has reached its end. Pacific salmon always die after they've spawned. However, their death is vital in keeping the river's ecosystem healthy. Their decomposing bodies release nutrients that feed the aquatic food web. During the Great Salmon Run, the fish will travel over 1,000 kilometers to reach their final destination. But there's one animal that breaks all records in terms of distance. The humpback whale. These 16-meter-long serene giants complete the longest mammal migration on the planet. They begin their journey in the cold waters of Antarctica, then swim all the way to their winter breeding grounds in Hawaii, Mexico, Costa Rica, and here in Colombia. This extraordinary odyssey takes around 160 days, a distance of over 8,000 kilometers. Humpbacks are superb swimmers, and they use their massive tail fin, called a fluke, to propel themselves through the water. They can hold their breath for up to 45 minutes before coming up for air, and can dive down to a depth of over 200 meters. Humpbacks can communicate with each other using a range of clicks, groans, and whistles. It's believed it helps with their navigation as well as attracting potential mates. Their fins are so powerful that sometimes they leap completely out of the water. This breaching is a spectacular sight, although scientists aren't exactly sure why they do it. It may be to remove parasites from their skin, or it's another form of communication with other whales. This female humpback has traveled almost 10,000 kilometers for a very special reason. This whale has come to the warm waters of coastal Colombia to give birth to a calf. Although her baby already weighs over a ton, it has little blubber, so the high temperature of the water is keeping it alive. There are also no predators such as orcas to threaten it. Humpbacks have a very long gestation period of 11 months, and females breed every 2 or 3 years. In her lifetime, she could have up to 15 calves. The whales choose to give birth here in Colombia to escape the bitterly cold waters of the Antarctic. On the other side of the world, in a lake in Hokkaido, Japan, hooper swans have flown here to escape the cold of the Siberian winter. While all other water here is frozen solid, hundreds of hooper swans are able to survive the winter thanks to this lake's steaming volcanic waters. Parts of the lake have remained free from ice all winter, ensuring the hooper swans have had a constant supply of food. The birds gained their name from their deep honking call that fills the air. It serves a purpose, though. When hooper swans prepare to go on a flight, they use it as a signalling method to encourage each other into the sky. But now spring is coming to Japan, and these hooper swans know it's time to leave and make the flight north back to Siberia. The swans prepare for their huge journey once again. The honking signal coordinates the flock, and they take off together. They take to the sky and start their journey back to the cold climes of Siberia. There is a Japanese saying that swans carry the winter away on their wings. Driven by the need to find food, the desire to breed, or to escape the changing seasons, animals will do whatever it takes to get where they need to go. Even with seemingly impossible obstacles in their way, or lethal predators lying in wait, they always find a way to reach their journey's end. No matter how difficult the voyage is, animals go to the ends of the earth to find a way to survive.